hundreds of people in Southland towns, not just Mataura, have been forced to leave their homes following civil defence evacuation orders. Residents in Gore, Wyndham and Mataura were told not to be complacent and to leave immediately. We spoke to some of those caught up in the state of emergency. How's the river looking?
Oh, big, brown and dirty and angry.
Andy Muir, Gore evacuee. Not one to mince words. He bailed out this morning. Andy, how did you get the word that you had to bail?
Actually, it came through the text on the phone, and we've got to give credit where credit's due. The system's worked out really well. So we got them probably, first one was about 10 o'clock last night, then from 6 o'clock this morning, every half an hour. Very effective system, so credit's got to go out there.
So what did you manage to pack up and who have you got with you?
Well, I've got a family, the kids and the wife, and we've just got our vehicles out of the road and taken to a mate's place, which is in a higher part of town. So basically, the centre of town's been evacuated, which is Main Street, Hokanui Drive area. We've just basically got the bare necessities that we need to get away until the carnage is over and done with. But like I say, it's an overcast sky here. It's actually a bit of a breeze blowing at the moment. And you'd have no inkling whatsoever that there was about to be water hosing through the middle of town. But it's just one of those things, eh? So you just don't take any chances.
In Mataura, Dave Glover had to get a hustle on too.
We had the alert to get ready to go. The police started going around door knocking, saying it's time to go. My family left at, can't remember what time it was, 8 o'clock-ish possibly this morning. I was tailing Charlie. More
from Dave later. As for Andy, he's a townie now, but he only came off the farm about a year ago. So he knows his way around a paddock, the Mataura River and the cobweb of streams, feeders and stock banks. And he's not fooled by clear skies.
There's no sign of moisture or anything. It's just, the thing is in Mataura, there's a lot of other rivers that lead into it upstream. So the headwaters of the Mataura is up by Nokamai, which is up towards Garston, Kingston, and there's all just flow-on effect from water that's come down over the last 24 hours or whatever, and it's not going to peak all the waters in here until later on in the day at the very earliest, because it's got to have time to travel down here. But in the meantime, it's manked quite a few flood banks and properties along the way, and that's what they're worried about for Gore. There's going to be a breach of the banks around here.
To higher ground now, Waimumu, where we catch Southern Field Days boss turned host for evacuees, Warren Ross.
I'm at Southern Field Days and it's actually sun shining and it's quite pleasant actually at the moment.
Have you got any people on site who have fled the floodwaters?
Yep. There are not too many. There's only, I think there were last count, there was about 16 or so people plus 5 or 6 kids. And a few pets, a few dogs and cats and bits and pieces.
What are they all doing and what sort of facilities are there for them?
Well, there is at the site we do have a 100 by 50 metre clear span shed that we use for exhibitors. So they're just camping out there at the moment, and we've got tea and coffee there for them. And I think the Gore Council brought out some food for them, and yeah, they seem to be happy enough at the moment. Any
idea, Warren, how long your guests are going to be with you for?
No idea, actually, to be fair. No. I'm not sure how long the water will stay up for, but as soon as it starts dropping, I guess, they'll start letting them go home, I suppose.
If they have to stay overnight, what's the deal?
There is a local community hall just up the road, so we're going to ship them up there, and they've got heaters and get a heap of blankets from locals, and yeah, they'll be quite warm and tasty, I think.
What about you? Is your house or where you stay anywhere near the problem zone?
No. I'm farmed just out the road a wee bit on a hill, so my place is all good. But I do have a good supply of rum in the cabinet, so liquor cabinet, so that'll keep me right.
Let's push north to Maitland, above Gore. And it's times like these we could use a little Faith Harvey, that is.
We're on a mission at the moment trying to hold on a second.
Faith and her husband Patrick are on the road, boat in tow. She fills us in on the plan and Patrick makes sure nothing is left out.
We're going to be going down the river trying to get to my father's place down in Wyndham where the river's about to peak in a couple of hours. But he's on a sheep farm there that borders the river. And the water, when I was talking to him a few hours ago, is only 20 metres from the house and he's got no way of getting out at the moment. So we need to go and try and get the boat down the river to see if he's all right. keep an eye out for any stock that are stranded as well and try and see if we can help in any way. We've got our wire cutters on the boat, cut any fences if we need to.
So you're going to be looking out for stock that might be in trouble, but the ultimate aim is to see if Dad is okay. And are you planning to uplift him, evacuate him?
If we need to, yeah, we'll see how we go. He's a pretty stubborn farmer, doesn't want to leave his house and leave his stock, so we'll just see how the situation is when we get a bit closer. He's got about 2,000 sheep, which he was still moving this morning to get them onto higher ground. We've only sort of got one area on the farm where there's high ground, and his neighbour, who's a dairy farmer, he's got all his stock actually on the road now because the road is actually a little bit higher ground, and with it being blocked off at both ends, no traffic can get through anyway, so his stock are on the road to try and keep them safe because he's got no high ground either.
So the target today is Dad, aka George, who's about 3 k's from Wyndham. All routes to him cut off except via the Mataura River. Yesterday, the Waikaka stream was their focus.
We rescued about 18 cattle yesterday from our neighbour's property who couldn't get out to move them to higher ground in time. We managed to pull 3 calves out of the river this morning from our neighbour's place further upstream. He's lost 35 cattle down the river.
Circle back to flood-struck Gore, and strangely, that is where we find Mataura evacuee Dave Glover. But here's the thing, he's on a hill.
We're at the in-laws in Gore.
In-laws in Gore, lucky man. What's that like?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, it's all right. Well, at least I've got power on, because that was one of the other big things. There was no power from 8 o'clock-ish or somewhere there in Mataura, because we also went to the shop to get a couple of items, and people sort of struggle when they don't have an EFTPOS machine and you've got to have cash. And up round my in-laws here, which is up on the hill, there's camper vans and everything else, and it's sort of, you can walk down the street a couple of blocks and you can see the great huge water of the Mataura River that's all over the show.
So, hey, the camper vans, Dave, are those people who are actually tourists or something, or are those people who are using the vans to evacuate?
No, they're tourists because they can't go any further because everything's shut. So we've got we've got juicy campers, and we've got people sitting in their campers with kayaks drinking cups of tea, and people are walking around with their families, and it's a good wee party time. Well, when I drove up here to my in-laws, there was people sitting on deck chairs at their gates, and that's the probably worst thing about it is that when the sun's shining, probably find it a little bit hard to think that we're in a flooding crisis.
There are, though, some telltale signs, including all the cars shifted to higher ground and the curbside pop-up camper van park for displaced tourists.
Every street in Gore's like that. All of Broughton Street's got cars lined from one side to the other, and campers and trucks, and down outside the Gore High School, it must be a civil defence station or something. There was police, and there was, of course, we've got the field days on down here about to start as well too. So there was Richie's buses parked there, and tractors, and I think Calvin Church is a stayover place as well too down Robertson Street in Gore. So they were riddled with cars both sides of the road all the way down. And I was just looking out over at one of these campers that's parked up here with the fella reading his magazine. He's actually he's a local that's been on the lower level that's driven his camper out and come and parked up on the hill.
Do you know him?
I know who he is. He's having a wee sleep by the look of him.
So are you well stocked up? Got everything you need?
Yeah. No, we just need the water to go away, and then I think they should declare it a week's public holiday, and we can enjoy it, because summer might have started to get here, but you wouldn't think so in the last couple of days.
And just an update, Faith Harvey and her husband Patrick were forced to abandon their bid to reach her father on his farm. The river was just too ferocious.